Before we dive into the story of how Steph Curry became the most unstoppable force in modern basketball, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because on this channel, we don't just talk stats. We tell stories. We break down how legends are made, how they fall, and how they rise again. If you're a real basketball fan, you're in the right place. Now let's talk about how a skinny kid from Davidson changed basketball forever. Steph Curry is widely known as the greatest shooter of all time. He hits impossible threes, won 4 NBA championships, and truly revolutionized basketball forever. But there's one thing people often overlook. Steph Curry loves to show off. From no-look shots to wild celebrations that have spread across every sport in the world, Steph doesn't just win. He makes sure you remember how he did it. His game is electrifying, his confidence is off the charts, and his performances often look more like art than basketball. But how did he even become this good in the first place? And why do some critics actually claim that he ruined the game? To really understand the rise of Steph Curry, we need to go back. All the way back to February 27, 2013. Wardell Stephen Curry II, known simply as Steph, was beginning to blossom into a solid point guard since the Golden State Warriors drafted him 7th overall in 2009. While he'd shown flashes of brilliance, he wasn't considered a superstar yet. At the time, he was admired mostly for his work ethic, humble demeanor, and incredible shooting stroke. He wasn't known for flashy antics or bold trash talk. The most demonstrative thing he did on the court was point to the sky after a made basket, an act of giving glory to God and a quiet nod to his mother. But on that February night at Madison Square Garden, something changed. Curry torched the New York Knicks for a career-high 54 points. He hit shot after shot, step-backs, floaters, crossovers, and of course, deep three-pointers that made the crowd gasp. MSG is often called the Mecca of basketball, and Steph lit it up like it was his own personal stage. Although Golden State lost the game, Curry's jaw-dropping performance turned heads across the league. And just like that, the baby-faced assassin was born. That night marked a turning point, not just in his career, but in the way he approached the game. Only a couple months later, with the 2012-2013 season winding down, the Warriors were in a must-win game against the Los Angeles Lakers. If Golden State wanted a higher playoff seed, Curry needed to deliver. And he did. He scored 22 points in the first quarter alone. But what stood out wasn't just the scoring, it was the emotion, the energy, the fire. Curry was celebrating, talking to the crowd, walking away before his shots even went in. He ended the night with 47 points. The Warriors lost again, but something had clearly changed. The old Curry was gone. The new version was confident, theatrical, and dominant. When the playoffs arrived, Steph continued his explosion. Against the Denver Nuggets, he hit one of the most iconic threes of his early career, turning around and talking to the Nuggets bench while the ball was still midair. This was the start of the Steph Curry experience. Deep threes, shimmies, and celebrations that no one else dared to pull off in high-stakes moments. The Warriors shocked the Nuggets and moved on to face the San Antonio Spurs, one of the most disciplined and successful franchises in NBA history. Curry wasn't intimidated. He hit walk-off shots, showboated after contact, and looked like he belonged among the greats. Although the Spurs eventually won the series, it was clear that Steph was no longer just a promising talent. He was a star. By the 2013-2014 season, Curry had become appointment television. In just the second game of the season, he dropped 38 points and 9 threes on the Los Angeles Clippers. He had even signed a deal with Mogo Sport to create custom-flavored mouthguards, a small but unique way to stay focused. Still, despite his brilliance, the Warriors were bounced in the first round of the playoffs by the Clippers in a tense 7-game series. Steph was even embarrassed by J.J. Redick at times. If he wanted to fulfill his true potential, Golden State needed a change. That change came in the form of Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, a former player with 5 NBA championships, took over as head coach and brought in a new philosophy: space, pace, and unselfish ball movement. But coaching Curry wasn't easy. Kerr quickly realized that he wasn't dealing with an ordinary player. On March 9, 2015, after Curry made an impossible spinning shot, Kerr had his epiphany. He said to himself, "This guy's different." That season, the Warriors won a league-best 67 games. They were fast, fun, and dangerous. And at the center of it all was Steph. The playoffs that year were Curry's playground. He destroyed the Pelicans, danced around the Grizzlies, and took the Warriors to the NBA Finals. But there were still doubters. After 3 games, the Warriors trailed LeBron James' Cavaliers 2-1, and backup guard Matthew Dellavedova was earning headlines as the so-called Curry Stopper. That nickname didn't sit well with Steph. In Game 5, he went off for 37 points and obliterated any notion that Dellavedova could guard him. With Andre Iguodala moved into the starting lineup, the Warriors won the next 3 games. Golden State were NBA champions. Curry had his first ring. But there was one thing missing: Finals MVP. That honor went to Iguodala. Steph came back with a vengeance. In the 2015-2016 season, he won a second MVP, this time unanimously, the first in NBA history. He hit ridiculous shots from half court, sat out dozens of fourth quarters because his team was up so big, and helped the Warriors win a record-breaking 73 games. His dominance was beyond statistical. It was visual. It was spiritual. He was more than a point guard. He was a movement. And yet, the season ended in heartbreak. After coming back from a 3-1 deficit against the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, the Warriors blew their own 3-1 lead in the finals to the Cavaliers. Kyrie Irving's iconic Game 7 dagger and LeBron's chase-down block sealed the collapse. Curry was devastated. But he didn't disappear. The next season, with Kevin Durant joining the team, many questioned if Curry could still be himself. That question was answered immediately. On November 7, 2016, he hit 13 threes in a single game, breaking the NBA record. Yet the criticism started to grow louder. Not about his game, but about his impact. Steph was changing basketball. Not everyone liked it. Kids stopped working on layups and mid-range shots. Instead, they were launching threes from the logo, mimicking Steph's celebrations. Coaches were adapting, abandoning traditional systems in favor of a three-point heavy game. Analysts started to blame Curry for ruining basketball, but Steph kept being Steph. He hit outrageous buzzer beaters, he danced, he mocked defenders. He and the Warriors cruised through the playoffs in 2017 and 2018, winning 2 more championships. Again, no Finals MVP. That honor went to Durant. But Curry didn't need the trophy. His greatness was already cemented. Then came the injuries. In 2019, Durant tore his Achilles. Clay tore his ACL. The Warriors lost the finals to Toronto and Durant left for Brooklyn. The dynasty seemed over. Steph struggled with injuries in 2020 and 2021. Yet, in early 2021, when Damian Lillard made comments that fired him up, Curry dropped 62 points in a single game. It was a message. He wasn't done. In 2022, Steph finally got what he'd been chasing, his Finals MVP. After dominating Denver, surviving Memphis, and taking down Dallas, the Warriors faced Boston in the finals. Steph was on a mission. In Game 4, he delivered a signature performance, 43 points, huge threes, and the infamous night-night celebration. He was calm, clutch, and cold-blooded. In Game 6, he sealed it. 4th ring, Finals MVP, redemption complete. Even now, long past 35 years old, Curry's still changing the game. The logo threes, the movement off ball, the celebrations, the emotion, the leadership, all of it. And yes, he still dances, still yells at the crowd, and still walks away from his shot before it goes in. Because Steph Curry isn't just a player, he's a show. Steph Curry didn't just master basketball, he redefined it. He took a game built on power and turned it into poetry. He didn't ruin basketball, he made it more exciting, more creative, and more accessible for the next generation. Love him or hate him, you have to admit, the NBA will never be the same again. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Because Steph's journey might be legendary, but there are still more legends being written every day.